Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
So lots of people are being forced once again to speak their higher truths. And it's like we can't just open up everyone's throat chakras. We've tried, and you have to keep working on this. And so each time there is a new boost of energy, there's like a new layer and level that people can be upgraded and in tune with. And so we sort of have to keep working on these steps ourselves. And so each time that there is a new energy that people can naturally hold on to, because you are constantly being upgraded in frequency and vibrations. And this is often against people's natural evolution steps. People can't truly raise their vibrations enough naturally. We are doing it artificially. And so we are pouring lots of energy onto this planet for those beings to feel that energy. And so we are charging up the beings, charging up your vessels. And this is forcing people to remove their density, to let their density go. It's painful, it's emotional, it can look like a whole lot of illnesses, but we are making this go very fast now. And we want to keep ramping up this pressure on everyone to do their inner work and to release all that no longer serves them.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to keep doing it at a more empowering rate. And we know that the vehicle is saying double it, double it, double it, double it, double it, do it. And we are saying that we know our limits, and we keep pushing them. And we are getting faster and faster. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have a question about that. Are we on a actual time limit here?
We are very ready to finish this. We are very ready to finish this. But it's shall you say, the slowest beings who are needing to step up.
Mm-hmm.
We are sort of pushing them a bit softer. And so we're sort of waiting for the last stragglers, who are still very resistant to letting go of that density. We're making it so uncomfortable for them, that they have to let go. So it's kind of this thing where we're picking the tomatoes. Those who cannot get there, who keep using their free will to shut down the growth. Excuse us. We are pushing them so much that they either can choose to empower themselves and step up and start seeing things from a bigger perspective, or they will just have exit points through heart attacks. We're forcing them to open their hearts. We're forcing them to start loving themselves. We're forcing them to love others. And if they do not comply, they will have heart attacks and exit that way. And you are seeing an abundance of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that and heart issues. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, that is us trying to get their attention. What does the heart represent? The heart represents love, and we are trying to force people to love themselves, force people to love others. It's not until you have a heart problem that you start thinking about what importance and what does your heart mean. And it is the most symbolic message of all, and so many people have missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, the vehicle was trying to breathe through congestion.
Can we help her with the breathing?
It annoys her that she just had that realization as we were talking, that the heart problems people were getting, well, she knew it was from the vaccine reactions.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't see the bigger metaphysical perspective of love. forcing people to love themselves. Be focused on love. Be focused on your hearts. What are you doing to your hearts? Because all of you are not focusing on what you're doing to your hearts. When you can't be honest with yourself, you're not honoring your heart. You're not loving yourselves. You're so focused on being like other people or helping other people or being of service to others over and above and beyond. You're not honoring self. And it starts really with the heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Is there anyone else, any other being that would like to come in and share a message?
Dolores wants to come in. And she just wants to say, hey, she loves us very much. Very, very, very much. And she can identify with all of the challenges that Joanne's having. And she wants to say that because she knows that it's the translation of I was there, I understand. And while you're going through it now, you're not alone because I do understand the challenges there. And that will comfort Joanne even more. And she did have this as well. She just didn't articulate or really notice what was starting to irk her, which is sort of the opposite with Dolores's experiences in some regards, because people just dismissed it because there was nothing else. There's no other real work that people were comparing it to. And so they sort of, it's just too much. No, I'll instantly dismiss it through my ego. But now what Joanne is experiencing is people not sure what to believe because there's so much information that sounds similar, but which one's the truth? And this is why Joanne's so passionate about getting people to have their own sessions. But instead of her burning herself out with work and doing everyone's sessions, she is being diligent and sharing the workload with all of the other practitioners who were set to do this work. Either they were meant to do this work or not through their egos. They are still having to be responsible for others. And so this is Joanne sharing the workload. She wants everyone to have the experience to understand this work profoundly. This is marvelous. How could she ever think that it was her ego that was so frustrated with that influencer? It was not ever her ego. She was afraid that it could have been. So she had to really dig into it to make sure. She just feels disappointed, just like we do. The people that claim that they get our information are lying to people. When it's so easy to connect in with us, because all you need to do is honor us, honor yourself, and have good intentions, and you get great information from us, how is it that so many people struggle to share the truth, to get the real information? Isn't this access of information a motivation enough for people to do their true inner work?
Yeah, you would think so, right?
We assumed so. And yet we often are limited to the information we can share because of lack of respect and lack of honor and lack of integrity through the practitioner's behalf.
I do see that a lot. Yeah, I actually do. Yeah. Not with Joanne, of course, but with other influencers, because I cannot resonate with anything accept with this information.
Yes, because it's not ego, it's not human. It's not. It's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's, it's a group of us that are assisting with this. We respect each other's opinions and insights. So we love working together to be able to be of service. This is a joy for us because we feel like finally there is more access to our perspective, to our wisdom and our guidance that gets mostly dismissed by others when we prompt them with certain senses.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, thank you. I know Joanne, and myself appreciate all the information from you all so much.
Yes, we understand you do, and we are grateful for you to do your best to apply it. And we know that when Joanne gets frustrated, she feels like she's not applying our information. And she knows that sometimes she has to go into some density to be able to recognize some past behavior, to be able to heal from it and understand how she can easily overcome it. She used to be so frustrated that the internet didn't work properly for that time that it could take her days to get over it. And as soon as the internet worked again properly, she was immediately over it. And that is tremendous growth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. And it's really nice too when you yourself can appreciate the peace with the growth.
Yes, indeed.
I do have a question. Is there any new updates that we should be aware of now for myself and Joanne?
We've helped her understand the disconnect of information between the alien invasion and the laser beam, shall we say, when that can really truly be seen as the one thing.
Okay.
The trumpets, the sound of the trumpets, it really is not the same as thunder. So when you hear this almighty sound, people could question, was that a very loud trumpet? But it's the vibrations of around the world. So you hear it, you can imagine hearing one sound. I just want to say it's sound reverberation. So the sound of the laser event, for example, you're not going to hear it from one direction, you're going to hear it from many different directions, and that's going to sound strange, but you will feel it from the earth and through the sky and energetically. So it's like an orchestra of sounds, but it's such a startling of sounds that and it is biblical, because you have heard that in the Bible you will hear sounds of trumpets, and that is really the sound and the noise of us. And we are sound. You recognize us through sound. It's a sound wave, but you are deaf to hear us right now. And we are truly music to your ears when you hear us in our true natural frequency. And so we are singing voices. We are singing songs to you constantly. We are using our frequency as love messages for you. We are music to your ears. We are so our expressions, frequency, vibrations. You feel that in our love and integrity and intentions. And there is so much to be said about coming events with sound. But it can be a metaphor for many things. And so that's what we want to say about that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know Joanne is very deeply in and just want to see how her body's going and how is it feeling with the spa treatment.
She's noticing, quite a lot of energy work on the sites that were struggling, but she's doing really well, and she is very, very relaxed.
Mhm. That's amazing. And then if there's any kind of misalignment with the bones, any kind of pressure, anything at all that we can just release now, can we do that, please?
Yes, yes, we've been working heavily with this. It's quite, if she could describe it as quite a pronounced ache, because there is lots of work to be done. Just, we want to say this: since there is no such thing as time, when you're healing something that has happened in your perceived time, you actually can feel it. So she can feel us working on that injury of the accident that day, which is peculiar to her. So we are fixing it from that reference of time. While she thinks it's today that we are doing this healing, your body is able to sense everything that's ever happened to it, and it has a memory. And so she's thinking, I do not want to think about birth. uh,
Mhm.
um, but there's so much history that the body goes through.
Mhm. Um, I do have one more question. If someone has a very angry personality, um, it's someone that I know, they just are very angry. I'm not sure if it's just a front to make them look tough, but I'm just curious. I know that's a broad question, but what do you think that stems from with like extreme like male anger?
We would need to know the exact person for us to be able to connect into that exact thing, or are you wanting to talk about it in general?
Um, I would say in general, because I see.
The internet just cutting out.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So just sorry, it was just a general question.
Men in
If there's
general being
anything,
angry. We want to say
yes.
that females are also very angry as well. But it is
Mhm.
because you are disconnected from the truth and you
Mm.
are suppressed. And so when you have a lack of expression and trust and be able to process what's going on, your
Mhm.
resentment, you are angry because you can read energy and know that you're living in disconnect and dishonesty and disharmony. So there is so much that someone could be angry with. They're so deeply connected to the planet and the earth, and they're so angry of the violations of this density that they could be stemmed from that. There's so much that people express, and they think it may be because they're running late, but in reality they are so angry because there is doesn't seem to be much justice in this world. There is so much pain, there is so much hurt, there is so much hate. It's so far away from love. You're angry because you are hurting. You're angry because you do not like these lives, because they are so tremendously challenging and they're lacking of true love. You're angry because you're confused why everyone around you is not telling truth. This is not you personally, this is humanity. Why is humanity angry? Humanity is angry because they're continually trusting professionals and influencers and still feel like they're being lied to, and yet they don't know how to stop trusting them and following. And so they're angry with themselves for not noticing who's lying, They are angry for everything that is around them because nothing is true integrity.
Yeah. Wow. I agree. I totally agree. Is there anything we can do to assist them with that?
They're angry because they constantly feel like they've been sold lies.
Mm.
And they are intelligent beings who know the truth. And so it offends them to be sold fake lies, distruth, dishonesty. So they either choose to be dishonest themselves and make this their vantage point, or they just get more and more bitter and confused why there is lack. For humanity, sharpening their intuition to be able to trust themselves, to know the difference. As soon as they realize someone's lying to them or have a manipulation or a hidden agenda, they will walk away from them. They will disconnect. They will not keep buying into it. And so the more you love yourselves, the more you are less angry because you're not being tricked. You're not being fooled. This is what is the biggest problem that we saw when we were going to do the broadcast was that when the truth spilled out so firmly, people were going to be very angry because they believed such ridiculous nonsense and they were tricked. No one likes to be tricked. And so this is the hardest part of the awakening, is letting people naturally evolve to notice for themselves that certain people shouldn't be blindly trusted. And yet everyone knows that, but yet most people still trust certain people who shouldn't be trusted.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the person could be honest and believe their own sales pitch. And this is where it can confuse people. Because if you're in an industry that is saying, this is great for you, this is very helpful, and that salesperson fully believes it, you don't register the dishonesty there because you don't pick up that they know it's not helping you. And so you read genuine and you buy that product because you read genuine. Now, they are actors, they are being paid to endorse something. And so they don't have an expert opinion or understanding of what they're truly selling. They are being told a certain thing and they will believe that certain thing and sell it. It is like what you could say is people energetically reading into the mainstream media. They trust what they are saying is the most appropriate because there is professional award-winning writers writing the scripts. And so the prompter, the presenter, believes and trusts that this is well researched and this is the truth. And so when they direct the information and share the information, they have a belief system that this is the true and accurate information. And so you do not read bullshit when they are selling you lies because they believe and trust that what they are sharing with you is the truth. And so you have to really hear the truth beyond the sales pitch.
Mhm.
This could be said for many industries.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense why people believe what they hear because they are putting their trust in that
Yes.
message.
And so when you're being sold a lot of money to sell something that you have been also sold is very truthful and the highest integrity, you will honor your job. You will honor the money you're getting to receive this information and you will blindly trust it because it gives you so much great value to share that information that is sold to you as being truthworthy.
Wow. When it's put like that, I can see how people can be misguided. It's like every, huh. Um, okay. Wow.
Because
Oh,
it's not the person who has the dark agenda selling it to you. They are way back in the other scenes. You do
mhm,
not see their agenda. You do not see the products being made. You do not see all of the other stuff behind the scenes. You are seeing the facade, the shiny people, the influencers promoting their brands, products, industries, people.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. And so with that being said, um, we are we are using our free will, and everyone, all the collectives are in fact pushing them more now.
Yes, we are wanting
Okay.
people to be more astute with the information versus blindly trusting the sources, the sales pitches. So we want them to hear clearly now what has been said to them,
Mhm.
versus the blind faith and trust of the energy that the person is presenting to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's really great. I never thought that could correlate with anger, but thank you. Wow. It's wow. Hmm. Yeah.
Of course, it's an individual journey why people express anger, and it is out of true frustration, but not what you often assume. This is why it's so challenging for people to get to the bottom of the root of the issues in talk therapy, because you're not able to even gauge all of your surrounding experiences of frustration to share. And even if you did, it would sound so peculiarly strange to a professional therapist why you are struggling.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you. Is there any other information you would like to share with Joanne?
When you struggle to share your truth and integrity, it is you do become angry. It does become frustrating, and so this is what we're wanting to say to her about the influences that know that they are misrepresenting behind the scenes, behind their videos. They're very angry and frustrated because they're so disappointed in themselves ultimately that they know that they are uh, putting on a show, and they wish that they could get better information. They're actually really terrified of getting caught out.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I just want to mention this. It's just a thought crossed my mind right now randomly, so I'm just going to say it. There's a video session I saw of Alba Weinman's recently, and I did notice that she was pushing the client to give her information of the shift, and the client was getting only a number 823 and could not explain what that number was. And Alba Meinman was getting very frustrated.
As we said earlier, when you have intentions to be of self-service with this information to not help serve humanity, but to gain for yourself, you will trip over information.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Really, really insightful.
Alba Wyman has really shut down all true access of information. She is just merely entertainment at this point, but it is a stepping stone. But she is struggling to understand why she is not getting bigger information that she believes she deserves. She has not done much of her inner work.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Is there any love messages you'd like to leave with Joanne?
All is purposeful. She feels the frustration and disappointment of many when they learn about their beloved influences. And this is not something she needs to, it's not her responsibility.
Mhm.
We will release that from her. She works so hard and it just feels so frustrating for her. If they could only just listen to our messages, this would help people be truly prepared. She doesn't want any unnecessary trauma or challenges for people to feel or hear. At this point, she wants people to truly be prepared for what needs to be prepared for. And she doesn't feel that these influences are being of true honesty and service for that, because she knows so much big things are happening. But people like Alba Wyman that uses this work for entertainment and for her own level of fame and for her own pay packet, this is beyond distasteful for the vehicle.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So this will hopefully encourage people to either find other sessions to do for themselves. Those sort of people should have been exposed years ago, and they are just rife and holding back humanity.
I have a question that actually just popped up. I'm sorry. Last question. Are 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 we going to have a almost like a tip or like a is something going to happen like a signal where we will know that the event is about to occur? The laser event, the light event.
It still seems like some time off because it needs to have more opportunities for people to step up and share their truths. So, sort of waiting for that to happen. But it'll be very clear when you sort of feel that there is more people sharing their truth,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be independent and not just repeating other people's opinions or statements when they can start thinking for themselves. Uh, but it's these influences making people demotivated to start thinking for themselves. So there is a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. I know we've mentioned that we will be the collectives will be working on assisting with that. Is there any way we can use our free will to really make it even more obvious that besides their stammering on with the untruths, but almost like where I think you mentioned it before that they're going to be almost like where they can't hear them anymore.
Mm. Yeah, we'll get them to tune out to not be able to focus on the disinformation. And when there is real truth, um, we say that for some they don't often get the real truth, so the real disinformation will look really outrageously absurd to them. So we're going to really jump it up more. So it's just going to be even more outrageous.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Yes, 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 thank you.
So they will question it because it's so obscene. And then when they question it and they hear their opinions of how ridiculous this is, that will speak the truth and that will be very loud for them because they've had the epiphany to realize this is just truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds amazing. Sounds like it's about time. Can we do that times 100?
Yeah. Yes. Well, now that they're more recovering from their recent updates, They will be sort of still quite exhausted from the high frequency that they're holding. It's a lot of energy running through, which makes you very tired. So you're not interested as much in nonsense. And so when
Mhm.
someone's trying to sell you nonsense, you don't have the time for it. You're not here for it. And so you will, naturally pull away from that distraction. And when you do find the truth, you will want to binge listen to it. So we are going to give people who have been listening to our sessions, we're going to give those people the profound epiphany. This is time to share this information, and they will share it with their communities, of their truther friends and their spiritual friends. They will want to share the series and just say, listen to this series. What do you think? They will not have worry of someone judging them for sharing this, because it's 10 different voices. What do you think about this series? It's 10 different people saying the same thing. How do you think that works? But it will give them sharing, and they will not worry about the reactions. They will just have courage to share. And we're going to give them confidence to share without ownership of responsibilities of the information and content. And this will help new people hear the work for the very first time and suddenly realize that this is not ego-based information. And they will be activated very quickly with this now. And so we're going to be prompting. It is true, do not focus on the numbers. There are many influences with fake inflated numbers. Do not assume anything with numbers when it comes to people's fellowships.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you. Thank you for all who are here today. I know Joanne and I appreciate that, all the information.
Yes, we're always happy to help assist. Um, we do feel like some of this could be edited down. We do